Hi, my name is Andrea, and this is my job about contemporary world, the evidence number 3. And it's basically about the unipolar world, the globalization, the digital technology, and the importance of knowledge. So, the first thing that is asking us is to look for important events from the last decades. This means since the crisis of socialist bloc until today. So I'm just gonna mention some of them, obviously not all of them. So for example, in 1945, exactly on February the 4th, it was the Yalta Conference, and like a little meaning of this could be that it was a meeting between Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin, and it was to decide what will happen at the end of the war. Another one in 1946. It was the Churchill's Iron Curtain speech, and it was when Churchill delivers his sinews of speed. This speech, which contained the famous phrase, "An Iron Curtain has descended on Europe." Another one could be in 1950, and it was the Korean War. The Korean War began when North Korea invaded South Korea. Then in 1954, the Geneva Accords, and it was the set of documents ended in the French War, with the Vietnamese and divided Vietnam into North and South states. The communist leader of North Vietnam was Ho Chi Minh, while the U.S. friendly South was led by Ngo Dinh Diem. Then in 1962, Cuban Missiles Crisis, and it was a USSP plane reported sighting the construction of a Soviet nuclear missile base in Cuba. President Kennedy set up a naval blockade and demanded the removal of the missiles. War was averted when the Russians agreed on 28th of October to remove the weapons. The United States agreed not to invade Cuba. Another one in 1977 was the Carter president. Jimmy Carter became the 39th president of the United States. 1986, Chernobyl disaster. An explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in the Ukraine remains the worst nuclear disaster in history. In 1989, since November 17 till December 29, it was the Velvet Revolution. The Velvet Revolution, also known as the Gentle Revolution, was a series of peaceful protests in Czechoslovakia that led to the overthrow of the communist government. In 1991, 31st of July, start the strategic arms reduction, that is the meaning of START, treaty was signed between Russia and the USA. In 1991, also 26th of December, end of the Soviet Union. Russia formally recognized the end of the Soviet Union. Now I'm gonna continue with the questions. The first one we can say is the transformation of society in regards to the unipolar transition, globalization, digital technology, and the importance of knowledge. So I divided the four of them. so I'm going to talk about each one. So the unipolary is used to describe the power structure when one superpower dominates alone. The United States surface as the sole dominating power in world politics, as there were no real challengers to their hegemonic position. This allowed greater room to the superpower to maneuver and to get involved in internal issues that not necessarily coincided with national interests. Then, globalization has often blamed for the rapid rise in obesity in much of the developing world. A notable exception is a recent study by De Bugley, who explored the influence of economic globalization on obesity worldwide. Economists were among the first to try to quantify the different components of globalization in their attempts to assess its impact on economic growth. Then, digital technology is a transformation. Well, digital technology transformation is the profound transformation of business and organizational activities, processes, and models to fully leverage the changes and opportunities of a mix of digital technologies under accelerating impact across the society and in a strategic and prioritized way with the present and future shift on mind. And that's it. Now the second question, that is, what does it mean? Some words. The first one is globalization. That means and is a process of interaction among the people, companies, and governments of different nations. A process driven by international trade and investment and aided by information technology. The second word is terrorism, and is the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate government or its citizens to further certain political or social objectives. Then is the word or phrase unipolar world, and it's common to call the word unipolar. This vocabulary is used in the international relations theory, and it describes the power balance in the world politics and is a result of various complexly organized hierarchical system. And last, the digital era, and is characterized by technology which increases the speed and breadth of knowledge turnover within the economy and the society. Now, the third question is that we need to connect some terms. It exactly says, think deeply about each concept. Make a description that allows you to connect each terms with the list of events provided previously. So the first one is, why did the globalization emerge? And it emerged when the United States established itself as the most powerful country in the world. The emergence of globalization was also introduced to promote inherent wealth among all countries in the world. The second one is, in the most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks in 20th century. In the 20th century, acts of terrorism became more prevalent throughout the world as political, religious, and social activists agitated and changed other groups, exposing new causes like animals' rights and environmentalism, committed acts of violence in the 1980s and in the 90s. The third one is, how does the end of the Cold War was related within the unipolar world? In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, the first of a series of events bringing the period known as the Cold War to an end. From a state of military multipolarity, the world had progressed to one of the bipolarity, to the current situation of unipolarity. It is difficult to see whether or not the world has become more secure following the end of the Cold War. And the last question is, how does the digital era influence today's society? And while technology has created amazing tools and resources, putting each person most useful information at their fingerprints. Modern technology has made it possible for the discovery of many functional and utility devices like the smartwatch or a smartphone. With all this revolutionary technology has also made our life easier, faster, better, and more fun. So, well, if I'm not incorrect, that's basically all. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.